All right, all right. Okay, guys, let's get into this. We're going to do a little check in for a love tarot story, but I do want to specifically look at what's hidden. All right, so we shall see where this one goes. We have got the Two of Pentacles. Okay, so what might be hidden for starters could be someone's not sure about something. We could have a feminine who is either like not 100% sure about how she feels, about where she wants to commit, about how balanced she feels. We've got the Nine of Pentacles also. Okay, this could be somebody that might actually like being single. And so when it comes to love, it's like I don't even know if I would want love in my life because I'm kind of like acing this whole self-love thing right now. I feel abundant, I feel proud of myself, I have freedom to do what I want to do, go where I want to go. Who says I got to do love? Like I don't even know anymore if that's something that I want or need. At least not right now. Hey guys, AC, Denisa, Violet, Miss So the Peaceful Observer, Irene, Carrie Wilson, Patricia, thank you so much for being here, guys. Great to see you all. Calm seas, we're calling out to you. We've got the Ace of Swords here in the reverse. Okay, so again, she says, I don't know what I'm doing. Hey, Carl, I don't know what I'm doing. Do I really need love? I'm not totally against it, but I don't have clarity on what I want. Maybe she also doesn't have clarity right now on what do you mean? Who says there's love around me? Maybe what's hidden, and she's like, I don't see any love. I mean, it's not like I rejected anybody lately, but I'm not sure I think there's anybody around. Okay, I would say we are definitely dealing with a possibly divine feminine. Please remember that because still be a man, but it's somebody in the feminine energy. But they don't have anyone in their orbit right now. They're just out there on their own. So this whole topic of love is like, I don't know that I think there is any. We do have a Nine of Swords. In fact, I think for her right now, she says, when I start going down the road of thinking about all kinds of love stuff, that's when life gets stressful. That's when it gets hurtful and painful. Really, when I'm out here on my own is when I'm pretty balanced. I feel pretty good about myself. I'm not, going crazy. I don't have somebody, I don't know if she's had some really bad relationships, but we got all these little monkeys pulling at her hair. And it kind of feels like, of course, that would make you feel really stressed out, but she could have almost felt like sometimes love felt more like an addiction, that old saying, like the monkeys on our back. Or this is like, it's been relationships that have been suffocating or too clingy, or she wound up too clingy, or she's just been really confused, or maybe she's had people who monkey branched their way into her life. They're still holding on to one relationship, but they swing on into her life and grab a hold of her before letting go of the other one. And it just feels like she's had not a very good run. EM Bell, April Fresh, T Baby, welcome everybody. This is with the Six of Swords here, Six of Pentacles here. I can't read sideways. I should have just turned it up right. Don't ask me why. No, I want to cock my head to the side. Don't ask me why I just did that. And then we've got the King of Swords in the reverse. Okay, so what is hidden from her, I would say, is that there is someone out there, possibly a Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, who admittedly they're in a karmic cycle of their own right now. And it's seemingly a cycle where they don't have anybody to give to, and they don't have anybody to give to them. Now, they may be bent out of shape. I don't know if they have anything to do with her. But again, my topic here was what's hidden. And for her, I think she does not know that there's somebody else out there that feels sad or feels like they've got nobody. We can see that she thinks she's got nobody, but she doesn't really seem unhappy. It just seems like she doesn't believe anybody's thinking about her. And right now I'm leaning very heavily towards saying, I think there's a King of Swords out there. Maybe this is his card too. Maybe as much as he caused her grief, he could be the one in a lot of stress. Look, he's in the reverse right now. and he doesn't have somebody in his life to give to. So, yeah, we got this Eight of Pentacles. It just feels like he's out there feeling lonely or alone. It feels like he's someplace out there on his own. Hey, 11D8, Q Miller, RS. So great to see everyone. Oh gosh, we have the World card and we have the safe, supported love. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to finally, now we got enough cards. Let's commit to a storyline here. What's hidden is she doesn't see anybody out there for her, but she's pretty good solo. When she thinks about romance, she thinks romance has been pretty cutting, pretty painful, pretty stressful. But what's really hidden here is that there is kind of a lonely old soul in this King of Swords. If he is the one who walked away from her, he is acutely aware right now that he walked away from a truly supportive love. He is in this place of obviously thinking about, his new beginning looks pretty icy cold. His, if he's left this situation with her, he certainly hasn't replaced her. She maybe doesn't know that he's kind of on this journey. It doesn't look like a terrific one. I don't know if he's imagining that she's with somebody else by this point in time, but he's out there on his own. Let's dig in a little bit here. What is the deal with him? Can we just get a little closer look at that King of Swords? Okay, so Six of Swords. I mean, he's trying to move on into calmer waters. He is trying to move on from her or from whatever has bothered him. But Seven of Wands sideways is not going so good. He's still quite stuck. That's how we overcome struggles. But there it says we're really not overcoming struggles. Eight of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles. He's working on like self-love. Why was he the King of Swords in the reverse? We have got the King of Cups sideways and the Chariot. Look, I do think in this storyline he was in love with her, but what's that song? Where do broken hearts go? Do they find their way home? Is it Whitney Houston? Do they find their way home? Can't think of the rest of the words, but I feel like it's Whitney. Okay, Seven of Swords. So he did have a lot of love in his heart, but I'm almost thinking he didn't know how much he loved her until she was gone. I'm thinking he lied to himself about how important she was. I'm thinking he thought it would be fine whether she was in his life or not. That it wasn't fine that she's gone. That's what I would say. It's a little bit like he was way more in love than he let on. And with her out of his life, he is like working on maybe learning to be single. But I was asking, why was he the King of Swords in the reverse? And it says, because he's lying through his damn teeth. He was madly in love with her and hiding that part too. So very much like, King of Swords in the reverse is not going to show any emotion. And sure enough, there was a ton of emotion. Maybe he wished he knew how to emote. Maybe he wished he had chased her and said, please don't leave me. But instead it was like, this doesn't matter. That's more the image that I'm getting here. Very complicated because I feel like we're dealing with certainly him as a character. He's like an oyster shell that I'm trying to pry open and try to get some kind of, like, what is this? What did you feel? And he's like, nothing. It's like, well, I hardly think that you felt nothing because you showed up here in this story. Okay, so he's liar, pants on fire about his own emotions. And so we're just going to call him the oyster because he's all shelled over here. Doesn't want to open up. But let's go back over to her for a minute. Universe, how am I supposed to look at her? She seems to be our lead character. The universe is like, she's social. She's pretty content. I feel like she spends time with friends, but I do not see romance out there for her right now. Five of Wands. She's got a lot on her plate. Most likely, her life is pretty busy. She may have a lot of people that she cares about in her life, and maybe those other relationships and their, you know, trials and tribulations. Like the more friends and the more family members we spend time with, the more we get integrated into their lives, their problems, their ups and downs. Sometimes we wind up just because we were, in proximity, we're whatever visiting at our sibling's house once a week, and then pretty soon it's like, oh, they expect you there every Tuesday, and also on Tuesday you do X, Y, or Z to help them out on the house remodel, and that becomes an expected thing. It's like sometimes we fall into patterns, and pretty soon our plate is pretty full, and pretty soon there's a lot going on. But I feel like she's drawn into other people's intrigues and dramas, and she's like a source of support and assistance to them. It's not like she's sacrificing her own life, but I think her own life is full, but I don't even know that she has time for love. And she's feeling pretty like, hey, my life is pretty good. So how full her life is keeping her like, unbothered on one hand. But this just feels like, I don't know, with the lonely energy, there is still a loneliness that she's like hiding from her own self, because that Five of Pentacles says maybe she keeps her life really full so she doesn't have to be home at her empty, nice big house too often, because that could feel lonely at her empty big house. So she fills her life with a bunch of other things. I don't know, that looks like the best way I would describe that anyway. We have a Six of Swords upright. That Six of Swords is hang on. I'm trying to figure out, sorry guys, I don't know. Sorry guys. I couldn't tell if somebody was trying to ask me a question in the chat. Okay. I can't tell. I'm not sure I understand what a comment was, but we'll just roll. Anyway, here we go. So in her mind, I don't know if she secretly is wishing that there was some, like one day somebody was going to show back up in her life and toss her in their sidecar and be like, come on, babe, you and me, let's get out of this place if it's the last thing we ever do. There could be this little secret part of her that says, I mean, I'm single. I don't know if I even need anybody, want anybody. I don't see anybody around me. Actually, love was pretty rough and rocky. Actually, my life's really full. I got lots of friends, lots of family. They all need some of my time. That's cool. That's good. Also, it keeps me out of my freaking empty, lonely, big, huge house. But, yeah, maybe deep down it would be great if somebody showed up in my life who wanted to build just with me and we could like have a go of it. So I kind of feel like we see her not being 10,000% straightforward with everything's great, everything's good, because we just kind of did some double talk in that string of cards, didn't we? So we did go kind of full circle around. I think that that's pretty understandable, though. This feels like a person who's content and kind of saying, look, whatever's meant to be shall be. I mean, would I be open to something wonderful? Sure. Do I see it? I don't. In the meantime, am I boohooing? No. I remember that I had some pretty painful experiences in love and romance. In fact, my life is easier than, just having friends and family in it than love if I had to go through what I went through in the past. So we see her, though, secretly wishing that, I don't know, is it that King of Swords that you wish would come back and fix it with you? I mean, is that who you secretly wish that somehow things could be fixed with? No. She says, no, hell no. Judgment in the reverse. I did not invoke my ex back. Okay. Okay. Let me step away from that topic. Then you would like someone. Seven of Swords. Okay, she's lying. I'm very sorry to call her out like this. And you should have seen the way this card flipped out. I wish that the camera were focused low enough for you to have seen, because when that Judgment card came out, it literally did like this really swift, like belly flop and tipped itself upside down. That's why I was like, okay, wow. She says, no, I don't want my ex back. And then the very next card is BS. Yes, you do. If it could all be different, yes, you do. That's understandable too, right? That is so understandable. We've got the Page of Pentacles. She's saying, no, I would want somebody new. I just don't think that she's being honest with herself. So what's hidden, of course, we can never have just a simple story, right? What's hidden is maybe some secret part of her is lonely that she wasn't admitting at the beginning, and then another secret part of her does wish that somehow it could all, go back in time and be fixed, even though she says, no, I don't want it to be with the ex. But that isn't true. It's just that I don't think she sees them ever returning, and I don't think she sees how it would be fixed. It definitely would be them having to come in and take the action because they're the ones on the motorcycle driving it forward. And the reason I do say this is the ex is because he was a king of swords, and sure enough, this is sword energy. And then when we put it with the lies, and keep in mind, he's lying to himself too, right? They both just got the 7 of swords. So we do have the energy of what's hidden is two people are lying about, I'm done with you. Well, I'm moving on from you too. And I don't think either one of them are having a very easy time of it. Universe, you want to weigh in? I don't want this storyline to go on and on and on, but we need to turn to the universe for a minute. Here we go. The World. The World card is new beginnings. The universe is urging them both to stop seeing things in the way they have. Okay, what does that mean though? Can we get one card for each of them? If the universe wants them to start a new cycle, how do you do that when all you've known is you both remember each other and you both say that it's over, but then you both secretly are not able to really move on? How do you do this different? Universe, what's the message for her since she's our lead character? 2 of Sacred Circles. Well, that was our first card out after all, right? So that actually looks good already, but here's the difference. Here she is all by her lonesome, doing her little dance in her pretty banana yellow skirt. Here she is acknowledging that maybe she is looped in a universal flow with, in this case, Ursa Major, but I'm going to say with that other individual. Instead of saying, I think I'll just be balanced by myself. It's not that, I mean, obviously we need to be balanced in ourselves, but if in truth there is some kind of balance that still needs to happen between herself, and then maybe it's just an apology, maybe it's to be friends, maybe it's not to become romantic partners again, but it certainly seems like lying that we don't need to talk and lying that it doesn't matter and it's over is not working. And I asked the tougher question of, universe, what do you want them to do things different? And the universe says to her, acknowledge that you still have a connection to them, acknowledge that there is something you still want from them, and then maybe figure out what that is. Do you need closure? Do you need, instead of saying it's over when clearly it's not. Okay, so we have Prince of Cups. It is possible that what this might say is if she actually does want to connect still with them and wants it to be a romance, then maybe she needs to admit that to herself first. Stop saying, I don't want it, and instead say, at least, to the universe. Like the universe might be challenging her. How about you try being honest with me? You don't have to go call them up. You don't have to ask them to come back, but you keep lying to yourself, which is essentially lying to your higher self. Why don't you try being honest with me, the big old universe, and be honest. If you still feel connected to them and there's something you still want with them, maybe you wanted them to be honorable and truthful and all those things and come in with an offer of love, then at least tell me. This is the universe talking to her right now, right? But the universe is like, tell me the truth. If deep down you would like a romance, or if deep down you would like to still talk to them, and deep down you would like somebody loving and honorable, and if it's them, allow them into your life, or if it's to get closure with them so that then you can welcome this new person in, but be honest about what it is that you want. That would be better than lying to yourself about how great everything is that they're gone. Okay, so how about for him? because he's lying too, right? So universe, what's a message to him? King of Sacred Circles. Okay, so universe is kind of putting him in the hot seat too. He needs to be more honest about where he wants to give. He needs to be more honest about what he wants to say, and he needs to start giving, or again, close your eyes and have a little convo from your heart to the universe. You notice I kind of like the fact that both of them have you know lightning coming down from the sky. So it's like the telephone call to the universe. But then she also has like the celestial, Ursa Major, Big Dipper, and, constellations and infinity symbol. The universe is like very much saying, y'all need to talk to me. You guys, you're doing not very good right now. You mortals, you get into this habit of lying to yourselves. But if you talk to me, I'm like, your nice grandpa who you can, kind of like, all right, so sit down, have some milk and cookies, and tell grandpa what's wrong. Like that's how I feel the universe is trying to talk to them right now and giving them really great advice. Like, all right, so listen, King of Swords in the reverse, who is also a King of Cups sideways, looks like you've been lying to yourself a little bit, right? So you say you're done, you're fine without her, you're moving on, but really, deep down, you wanted to chase after her and ask her not to leave. And you've been lying to yourself about how easy it is to move on and how good it is without her. How about instead you tell me what you really like to do? You'd really like to give and have a stable connection with somebody. That's what your heart beats. Is your heart like saying her name every time it beats? You know, Probably you should be upfront about that. It just kind of feels like the universe is trying to be the friendly grandpa and trying to be like, what's really stressing you out? Get to the bottom of where your stress really is. It kind of is nice to see the universe just on one hand calling them out, asking them to be more honest, but also asking them to identify what's really bothering them. And if they can address that, because they have a fear, right? That Nine of Swords is they're scared. All right, all right. Hey guys, sorry, I know that just buffered and froze on you just a second there. We should be back nice and smooth again. This feels like the universe is just trying to give that nudge and that encouragement and that lift to say, if you know what it is that you want and you're really scared that you've lost it because you still see her as your Four of Wands, maybe just get clear on that instead of continuously lying to yourself. So what's hidden here is that they both have been trying to do something that their heart's not in, which is to let this go and move away from this. And they've done a masterful job of lying to themselves. But unfortunately, your lips can lie and your heart really can't. So no wonder they haven't actually progressed. No wonder they're both sitting in liar, liar, pants on fire energy. And that's just what the universe was trying to point out. You guys know you're not really making progress on moving on because the truth of it is neither one of you wants to. Okay, so universe, if they can get to that point, if they can have a nice little chit chat with their grandpa universe, then what happens? What might be the outcome for these two? Judgment. Are we even surprised? This does look like a new beginning. It looks like reconciliation. It looks like both people, perhaps, if they could be honest, really truly honest with themselves. They're not done. They haven't ever been able to be done with this. They don't actually want to move on. They need to try it again. Would they have more success this next time, though? The Magician. The universe says, well, of course they could have more success this time. Here's the one thing. She would be the one returning, and then he would be the one who would be like manifesting and driving this forward. I have to say, I don't know if these two wind up back together unless they take these actions. And the first step actually is hers, on her side. So if she, and we kind of saw that here also, if she feels like she still needs to reach out to them, I I don't know that he'll ever reach out to her. I think it might be her who has to reach out to him. Am I right about that, universe? Does she have to reach out to him first? Two of Cups, the universe says no, it could go either way. And no, it is a responsibility on both of them. Okay, I just don't know how this is going to work. Who's reaching out to who first? Or do they at the same time? I mean, that would be uncanny. The universe is like, look, that part's not as important. But I would say it kind of is, because somebody's going to make a move here. Do they get, okay, let me change it again. It's not do they get back together. It's really, can we see how they get back together then, universe? Because I don't know if this is really ever going to happen, or if this is but one timeline that could happen. This says 10 of Cups. They walk across that big scary moat. Somebody's got to lower the drawbridge, so somebody has to unblock. Maybe they both have to unblock each other. That drawbridge, I would definitely say, is, like a blocking phone numbers, blocking this or that. So that has to be opened up. And then all it is walking across the moat, right? The drawbridge has come down. There's nothing preventing. Maybe that will be the signal for the two of them. Maybe they both need to check to see if the other one still has the other one blocked. And if they recognize, I'm not blocked, they've unblocked me. Okay, that means something has shifted and changed. And that might be the nonverbal confidence boost that they both need. Here's what I would say, though. This does feel juvenile, and I'm sorry to have to point that out, but really, if this is, we're playing with the rest of their lives, right? They are playing with the rest of their lives and the love story of a lifetime, and they are keeping themselves in freaking misery and lying to themselves every damn day. It feels a little bit ridiculous that something that important is reduced to like almost pulling petals off of a flower, right? It's like, well, did they unblock me? Yes or no? Because I'm not going to lift a damn finger to reach out to them, even though my very future and happiness depends upon it. But I'm not going to do anything unless I get to secretly find out that they unblocked me, which is a secret message that maybe they'd be, they're not pushing me away, and maybe that they're not over me yet. This feels immature for something this important. Something this important should be, I'm walking right up to you. I got to know, is it over? I'm not over you yet. Like, somebody should have the balls to do that. Him or her, I don't care. But I'm a little bit like, this is goofy for something as important as this. This doesn't feel super grown up if that's what they have to check up on. And I'm sorry, I'm being all judgy. But what it is I'm trying to say, you guys, this is way bigger. You aren't happy. You're lying to yourselves. You're not over each other. So for God's sakes, admit that part, turn around and deal with it like adults that advocate for your own happiness. That's what's at stake here, is your own happiness. It's not about who's more mature than the other. It's just for your own sakes. Don't you want to do what's in your own best interest instead of wait for the moat or the drawbridge to come down to then get a secret, ooh, now I can tell that maybe they'd let me talk to them. Now, on the other hand, we could say, well, how does one person reach out to another if the other person's so closed off? But this could also be the indicator that that's what they're both going to do. They're both going to come to that same conclusion. Like I said, wait a second, I should be always advocating for my own happiness in my own life. If I don't do it for me, who's going to? And really, should I linger and wait around? No, I got to know. Is there any part of you that still wants any part of me? If not, then I will surrender this and say, you don't want me. You told me to my face. Now I'll let you go. But it's kind of like they need to get to that point. It needs to be that blunt. Do you want me? Is there any part of you that still wants me? Yes or no? I'll leave you alone if you don't want me. But if there's any part of you that does, and what the hell are we doing? It just kind of feels like somebody needs to say it. There, I said it for them. We can see somehow, some way these two are going to get it worked out. But I hope that they get to it before they waste too much more time. Because wasting time lying to themselves is probably going to be a big old regret. And yes, we can see that there's worry. We can see that there's fear. We can see, you know, she's been filling her life with other things to take her mind off of this. Can I ask one, maybe the most important question that I didn't ask though? Why is it that they ever both thought we should move on and this is over? Why would they ever have said that? Ace of Sacred Circles. I mean, maybe, you know how in life we always act like, you know, you close doors and then you move into the next chapter, and you know, it's kind of like even celebrated or really encouraged that we do that. And I would agree, as long as we really mean it. If we really want to be done with somebody and we don't want an ex anymore, and we don't want the past, and we're really over it, then of course close that door so you can move forward in life. But on the other hand, if they're just doing it because that's what's expected, you know, sometimes people do break up or they have problems and they think that they're not going to be together. And then because now friends and family are like, what do you mean you guys aren't dating anymore? What do you mean you're talking to them again? I'm wondering if there hasn't been stupid pressure placed upon this connection to be like, no, we said we were walking away and now everybody thinks that we've walked away, so there's no way we could ever go back. You know, like once in a while you see people, even famous people, who like get married and then divorce and then they marry each other again later on. And you know, it's always like, oh wow, that's, you know, a volatile relationship. But on the other hand, maybe they're brave enough to say, I'm not done. And maybe that's what should be celebrated. Like if you still need to work it out, or you know, nobody's story is anybody else's, right? Our story is our story, and only we get to decide where we draw the line in the sand. But I think that they both maybe had extra pressure put on them somehow to be like, I'm supposed to leave it in the past and I'm supposed to move on and not think about them anymore, right? Because it's over, and that's what the universe, or that's what, you know, everybody in my world thinks it's supposed to be like. That's what my family, my friends, my colleagues, my coworkers, they all think I'm not with them anymore. So it would be humiliating to go back to them. Then I'd be, you know, looked down at. And I kind of feel like trying to draw a line though, and split something apart that's actually, this is a circle. I don't know if you can get away from this. It almost feels like these two don't want to be apart. And why are you trying to divide a circle? You know, like you're still going round and round and round, no matter if you put a little line in it or not. You just made it more difficult. You're going to chase each other around energetically instead of being able to kind of like live somewhere in the middle. I don't know. It just feels like they tried to stay away from each other, and maybe not even for themselves because they thought it was the right thing to do, but because it'd be like embarrassing to be getting back together. That is not a good reason. That would be a big mistake. That would be one of those massive regrets, to look back at life and say, the only reason I didn't, you know, go back to somebody that I still loved and I knew I still loved him, the only reason I didn't go back and beg them to come back to me or ask them, do they still want me or do we still have another chance, is because, well, my coworkers would have, you know, laughed about me at the water cooler. Who cares? We're not marrying our coworkers. You know, it kind of feels like, hopefully, that isn't a reason to let a love story go if they're genuinely not done with it. We did not see them like toxic, miserable, trying to make each other hurt. We didn't see that. We saw them thinking a relationship, we're supposed to let it go now. We did see that he might have been saying, you know, I thought that I could let this go, and now I'm discovering I'm like, I was really way more in love. We did see him as a king of swords in the reverse also, but I think it's because he's really bent out of shape over this whole thing. This is, it has not brought out the best in either of them, but I think that the separation has not brought out the best in either of them either. So kind of a tough one for sure. Anyway, you guys, I'm going to leave this here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I so appreciate you guys visiting. Calm, see, you made it. 11:08, we were invoking y'all. Oh my God. You guys are adorable. Rach is magic. Wonderful to see you, sweetheart. That's wonderful. I love that, Rach. That's so wonderful. Yeah, hopefully hopefully we all like choose what's really right for us, regardless of who's going to judge us. I mean, come on, y'all haven't even judged me for this shirt I'm wearing today. Jessica H, good to see you, love. RS, thank you, sweetheart. FK Slay, great to see you. Travis Rhodes is in the house. Blonde and Bert, thanks so much, you guys. You guys are so sweet. I wasn't fishing for compliments. I just thought it was a little bit loud. Oh, Q Miller. Aries and I just came back in from a little walkie, so he's napping. He had a bite of cheese for a snacky, and then he went night-night. Aries has very specific timelines. Usually when I go live like this, I try to always do it around times when he's going to be down for a nap, or in this case, it's his bedtime. He gets very disgruntled if I'm up past about midnight. He likes bedtime at 10:30. Now, he can stay up later if you give him a task, but otherwise he gets very irritated if like anything after midnight, and he's pissed. If I'm still like cooking, or even if I'm making his food, and sometimes I'll like do it at night, and then I'm up till like 2:30 in the morning. He is livid. He hates it when all the house lights are on. Oh my gosh, he's so funny. But yeah, he's sleeping probably in the spare room right now because he doesn't like any lights on when it's bedtime. When it's daytime, he doesn't mind if he'll be in here with me, but at night, he hates the glow of any kind of screens. He gets really mad and grumbly, like if I check my phone in the middle of the night and the light lights up the room, he gets really pissed then too. He has all of these different like little tones. Yeah, it's I've never seen a dog who is that like, turn out the lights, it's bedtime, you maniac. I'm trying to sleep. Aries needs his night time. It's quite funny. LODA is funny as Sleep Diva also. Yes, they make so much groaning. Oh, it's so dramatized, isn't it? Dogs are hilarious. Yeah. Yes, you need a dog that barks when you're on your phone too much. Well, sometimes it's a little bit tough though. Sometimes it's a bit much when, um, you know, when we've got stuff going on. So, AC, I've got to do Cancerian, and then I actually think I might get to bed tonight, and I'll get to Aquarius first thing tomorrow. Only because I really am feeling like I'm trying to make sure that I get better sleep, and I've been running behind again. And when that happens, then it throws me off, and then my lungs get bad again. So I think I might just do one more tonight and then get to bed so I can get up and have some better times tomorrow. Oh, Queen Bee, I wish you absolutely nothing but the best in reconciling. 11D8, thank you, Angel. Thank you so much. AC, you sweetheart, thank you. You're so kind. April Fresh, I love it. Your dog is Fred Eagle on his bed, and my son is on the couch. I love that. They do know like how to get so comfy, don't they? It's adorable. Thanks again. Carrie, it's so good to see you. Does Aries have your same bedtime routine? I love that. I mean, he's spot on for sure. Yeah. Everybody should get extra rest. Slave Princess, it's wonderful to see you. All right, you guys, have a wonderful evening. I will see you all. If you're up a little bit longer, I will see you for the Cancerian video that I'll do right now. Nor A, Arts and Tariffs, thank you guys for being here. All right, you guys. Hey, Astro, wonderful to see you, honey. Decoded, Relay, I almost missed you guys in there. Travis, thanks again. Kins, Sabrina, so good to see you all. Thank you guys for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. Dwayne Anderson, Gianna, Mama Jamila, thank you again, guys. All right, night owls. Lots of love. Bye for now.